Thank you very much, Sam. A very good morning to you. As you can see here, what they're embroiled in is a match of Lintonga. This is just one of the Indigenous Games that they're playing here at the 9th Annual Indigenous Games taking place at the Tshwane Events Centre. There are 9 different sporting codes that celebrate and preserve our cultural heritage. From the moment I walked here to the centre, there has been song, there has been dance. It has been an amazing vibe. It's now my pleasure to welcome on to the show the Honourable Minister of Sport and Recreation, Minister Mbalula. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on this important and special occasion, celebrating our heritage through sport.
Just tell us the importance of enjoying these games, making sure that we host them each and every single year since 2003.
This is the 9th edition of the Indigenous Games. They are important, particularly in terms of preserving our heritage. They are important in terms of teaching, younger generations about how we used to actually make it a point that sport was not only the things that we see now. African people and people in the African continent have always played these particular games for the importance of ensuring that they preserve the culture among themselves, and at the same time they are able to actually play. These are very much important when you actually grow up in terms of adapting and at the same time reaching out to one another and knowing your own culture and everything else, and camaraderie amongst young people.
I think what's also fantastic about these games is that you have games that are more dominant from certain regions and that help to preserve a certain cultural heritage from that region. When they come here, they all get to share in that. You've got Yixka, you've got Marabaraba, we've got Lintonga, we've got Khati. So we've got a variety of different sporting codes which speak to the diversity of South Africa.
Some of the games, even myself, I forgot, like Koko, so there's a lot. Khati Diketo, So there's a lot of games that have been played here and celebrated by a whole lot of young people that you see here from all 9 provinces. Today is the closing of these games. I think they started on Saturday and so on when we opened in the opening ceremony. Today we'll have a closing ceremony here. We invited the Deputy Minister of Traditional Affairs was also here, and then the chiefs in the villages to also come here. But these are the games that are not only in the rural areas, they are even here in the townships. You can play Diketo, you can play Khati. This is the simplest of things that you can do. You can do Black My Patile, not exactly the one that is happening in Parliament, the real Black My Patile, that is happening, and so on. This is wonderful. It's good to come and watch. I think it's the biggest games ever in the 9th edition this year that have been celebrated. And it is important that they must go down, and we have integrated them as part of our school sport program, the Indigenous Games, so that kids even at school can also learn and play these games.
Some would argue the relevance of such Indigenous Games because of the fact that we have sporting codes that you can actually make a profession in, like rugby and football and, maybe some Olympic sports. What's the relevance of the Indigenous Games?
The Indigenous Games are very relevant. These kids, when they win here, last year KwaZulu-Natal has won 2 years, in a row. Since I became minister, they've been winning. And then we took them to Lithuania to go and compete with others in the world. So these games are international. So it's not only that we're doing it just in a corner, somewhere in the tip of the continent, South Africa. This is happening internationally. It's just that they have not been celebrated to this particular magnitude, but they've been going on. And thank you to the partnership we have with the SABC and the sponsorship that we have from you people, because it is through this medium that we'll be able to tell the great stories of our people. And as you can see here, young people coming together across the provinces, enjoying themselves and playing these games, and at the end going home with a trophy and then going to compete internationally and coming next year, every year, and also doing it, at a rudimentary level in the provinces, in your ward, start to compete there. This year we brought in 3 stockies because it also communicates something that we are a diverse nation, and it is in that diversity that we celebrate our unity, and this is what is important about these games.
Certainly is. What game are you going to take part in? I saw you were watching the girls with the skip rope with Khati, and you were enjoying the Lintonga match. What game did you used to play when you were younger, Minister?
Well, I used to play many games, but what is important, when I graduated from being a boy to a man, the most important one is in Tonga. and it is the real stuff. It hits you here, you know, and then so that we can see blood. But now it's just for the game and for the sake of it. But we used to play that as youngsters and all of that. And when the boys are actually coming from the mountain and celebrating their manhood, they play izintonga. But also mixing up with girls when we grew up was the ghetto, you know, khati and all of those, koko. Those are the games. Black my patile, that's where you get girlfriends, you know, you start to know, you know, start to venture into life in a very, very progressive way. And this is what it's been all about. The parents will be looking for you in the house, you know, towards the darkness and so on. You'll be playing Black My Patile. This is fantastic. South Africa, this is awesome stuff that we need to keep as part of our heritage. And this is what we keep in sports and recreation. Indigenous Games, part of our heritage, part of our culture, and part of our celebration.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's the Honourable Minister of Sport and Recreation, Minister Fikile Mbalula, just speaking about the importance of the Indigenous Games. And if you really want people to learn and to understand, you better involve them. And that's exactly what these Indigenous Games do each and every single year. Today is the final day. They're going to be having finals across the 9 different codes that they are participating in. And then they've got a big celebration just to cap off Heritage Day right here in Pretoria. We're going to have more for you right here on Morning Live, so stay where you are. Sam, it's back to you in the studio.